Oh, hey, this is Warren Redlick. Hello, hello, hello. Hope people can hear me. Hello, hello, hello. Looks like we're doing good. This is Warren Redlick. Thank you so much for watching. Sorry I started late. Uh, Long story, short story is I had to deliver my dog to my kid, and my kid was running late because of Orlando traffic, and it's more complicated than that, but that pretty much gets you the story. Before I dive into everything else, first of all, thank you to the moderators. Jim Whitehead and Mark Potachnik are here. Mark Platt, I believe, can't be here today. And I want to mention really quick that there is a deal through the provider that does the merch. This is the Turn Impossible into Late shirt and the stainless steel water bottle. There's other stainless steel water bottles. There's lots of other t-shirts at elonbits.com. There is a discount code. If you look in the top of the chat or you look in there's a pinned link in the chat and there's a link in the description below, 25% off. I think you get 25% off on one order. So order one shirt, order one stainless steel water bottle, one hoodie, whatever, 25% off. It's a pretty good deal. Be aware, they're not, my experience, they don't always deliver as quickly as they say they're going to deliver. Just a warning there. So, yes, the dog ate my homework, exactly. So let's dive into, we're going to dive into the main stuff, but before we get there, just in case you don't know this, Starship should be launching tomorrow morning. I think 8 a.m. Eastern time is the target launch time. They appear to be ready to go. We'll see whether it happens or not. I'm not going to make it there in time. I can't leave South Florida. I'm stuck here in Florida. I can't leave Florida until the 19th. So it looks like I'm not going to make it. I'm pretty disappointed about that, but life happens. So, and there's a couple tweets about this. It shows the schedule for 7:15 a.m. I think that's Eastern time, and that's when the broadcast in theory starts on YouTube. So, and then Elon in 3 hours, Elon is going to be doing a Twitter Spaces about spaceships. I think about Starship. If you're a subscriber of his on Twitter, I am a subscriber of his on Twitter. Starts at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central Time. So, highly recommended. Subscribe to him on Twitter. Subscribe to me on Twitter while you're at it, WR4NYGov. But it's probably more important to subscribe to Elon than to subscribe to me. So I just wanted to cover that detail. One other thing, I did a video recently about whether Tesla should advertise, and I just wanted to cover this point. People are like, why is Tesla lowering prices? Tesla's lowering prices because they're not advertising. They should advertise. Really simple economics. Tesla produced 440,000 vehicles in Q1. They produced 365,000 vehicles in Q3 of 2022. If you go back to Q2, it was even lower, right? But Tesla's production is higher. Supply is up. This is economics 101. This is a 20% increase in supply in half a year. The economy is not doing great, and interest rates are up, so interest rates on car loans hurt demand. The economy is struggling, so the demand is not great. If demand is flat and supply is up, what happens in economics? Supply and demand. Prices fall. This is the natural course of events in economics. It is not, there's no magic wand in Econ 101 where if you spend money on advertising, you can raise prices. There's supply, there's demand. If supply is up and demand is down, prices fall. At best, demand is flat. It may have fallen. And Tesla has said for a long time their plan is to make the cars more affordable so more people can afford to buy them. So that was, it was a little less than 40 years ago that I took Econ 101. I'm pretty sure that's still true. Okay, and then before I dive into the main topic about Elon's trades, I've got a lot of material for you on that. If you are a supporter of me on the Locals platform, on Patreon, as a YouTube channel member, or as a Twitter subscriber, you can submit questions in advance of the Q&A that we're going to have later, advance of the video, so we can talk about those. So Stephen Gillis is one of my supporters on the Locals platform, asked me if I see Tesla insurance becoming obsolete after full self-driving hits, or do I think they'll spin off Tesla insurance? So I have said this before. I think insurance becomes obsolete. Once you head into a robotaxi world, this is the important distinction. If you own a Tesla and it becomes robotaxi capable, then Tesla is driving the car, and Tesla is $1 trillion or so company. If I'm a plaintiff's personal injury lawyer, and I was a plaintiff's personal injury lawyer, I'm going to sue the $1 trillion pocket rather than the guy, with the $100,000 car or the $50,000 car. Tesla's responsible for, if Tesla's software is driving the car, then Tesla's responsible for the accident. So Tesla insurance becomes largely irrelevant. Once it's safer than human. And now if you decide you're going to continue driving the car yourself, I suppose you could use Tesla insurance, and there's some value there, but most of the driving in Tesla cars is going, in the long run, Like as you go on, most of the driving in Tesla cars is going to be self-driving, and Tesla's going to be responsible. So the owner of the car becomes irrelevant, and you don't need to have insurance. That's my take on it. I think that, is there some remnant value to insurance that's left over? Also, the cars crash 1/10 as often, so there's less crashes. So is there some, and the cars aren't parked as long either, so they're not ready to be vandalized because they're out driving around. I don't think Tesla insurance, it might survive, but it won't be a big factor in anything. Okay, Derwin, who I've been arguing with about Aptera and DMs for a while now, he says it's okay to disagree with Elon on occasion. Fits the be less wrong mindset. That's another shirt, be less wrong shirt. ElonBits.com for the shirts. He said Elon has said in the past he's not some financial girl. He only has stock in his own companies. He said on the Babylon Bee interview that his taxes are simple. So who is telling him that his sales made the stock plummet, and why does he believe them? So I don't know why Elon believes that his transactions made the stock plummet. I'm going to go through this next and show you why I think it's at best inconclusive. I don't think people are like, well, clearly Elon's stock transactions caused the stock to fall. So we're going to dive into that right now. So these are the transactions from November 2021 to December of 2022 when Elon sold Tesla stock. Let me pull up my red arrow here. Okay. So what you can what I wanted. Red arrow. Okay. So these are the dates of the transactions. These are the number of shares that he sold. So on November 8th, 2021, Elon sold 2.8 million shares. His price on that sale was $392. That's post-split. These early transactions, up to a certain point, these transactions were before the stock split. The daily volume that day was 100 million shares. So the 2.8 million shares was 2.8% of the total volume on that day. And you can see the peak day, the biggest day when Elon sold was April 28th, sold 12.56% of total daily volume. We're going to dive into more details here, but just to give you an idea, and you can see his first trade was $392 a share. His last trade was $156 a share. So it is true that over the period of time from November of 2021 to December of 2022, Tesla's stock price went down and Elon sold stock. I think, but what you see here is, oh, this is not, hang on. Didn't go quite far enough. Okay. So look at the bottom row. On a typical day, on an average day, Elon sold, on an average day when he sold stock, he sold 5.2 million shares. The average volume on those days was 101 million shares, and his volume was less than 5% of the total transactions on the market that day. Now, this doesn't account for the fact that there were a lot of days when he didn't sell. Right? And we can dive into that too. That's going to be in one of the next tables. But I just wanted to give you that so we can see where we're going. All right, so let's dive in a little bit more. This is a stock chart showing the blue line is Tesla's stock price, and the green spikes are the days when Elon traded, and the spikes are taller when he sold more stock. Right? So, I think you can look at this and you can see, just as an example, this is actually the biggest volume of stock he sold in a period of time from November to December of 2022. And what happened right after he was done selling? The stock went up to almost as high as it was before he started selling. So, the stock was declining here. Does that mean him selling stock caused it to decline? And you can look like right here, he sold stock and it immediately jumped back up. And we're going to look at these numbers in and of itself. He sold stock here. I don't see any significant movement in the stock here. Was there a little dip here, but it bounced back right back? Is this meaningful? Where did the stock plummet? And like he sells all this stock here, and after he sells the stock price is back up to basically where it was before. So how did these sales cause the stock? And we're going to dive into this more. I'm going to give you guys a chance to tell me why I'm wrong here. But here's a chunk of sales, stock's flat. Here's a chunk of sales. Okay, the stock's down, but this is not enough information. So let's look at something else. This is, hang on a second. What is this? This is Tesla and Rivian. Okay, so the blue line is Tesla stock and the gray line is Rivian stock. Did I miss something? I think I've got another. Oh, I know what I've got to show you next. Okay, at the end, I'm going to show you this. I'm just showing you these charts first, so you can see here, right here, Elon sells his stock, Tesla jumps up right here, Rivian is jumping up, and then they both fall. Did Elon's stock transactions cause Rivian to fall? Because you can see this is reasonably parallel. They're steady state here. They're kind of treading water here. They're both treading water about the same time. They're both declining over this period. Did Elon's sale of Tesla stock cause Rivian stock to fall? Look, it rises here. Tesla rises here. Rivian rises here. Look at this big drop in Rivian stock. Oh, Elon didn't sell there. Yeah, I don't know. There's a big drop here. There's no sales. There's no transactions. Like, how does this, this transaction work? And I'm going to show you the numbers on these in a minute. Right here, you've got Tesla selling, and the stock bumps up within a couple days. This is the largest transaction in a single day, and I'm going to show you that again. But you can see there's this decline towards the end of the period, and Rivian also declines. Elon had said before, it's macro. The macroeconomy is not good. Interest rates are up. People who are buying expensive objects, expensive things like, machinery that's often bought with loans, the interest rate goes up, the price of the loan goes up. There you go. And, how did I do that? I don't even know how I did that. What did I just do? No. I don't know how to, all right, we're going to go with it the way it is. So, here's a big dip in the stock. Is this caused by Elon selling? Because he hadn't sold in probably a couple of months. And the stock, here's the stock plummeting. Here's the transactions. What's the timeline? What's the theory for those who are saying that, Elon selling stock causes the stock to fall? Does it cause the stock to fall the same day? Does this cause the stock to fall over a 2-day period, a 3-day period, a 7-day period, a month period? What's the mechanism by this works? How do you explain this fall in the stock? Here's a plummet. Here's a plummet. It was already falling when he sold, right? And strangely, Rivian was falling at the same time, and they both continued falling. You can say that it's true that after Elon sold stock, it did fall over a period of time, but it also jumped in the middle of it. And you've got a sale here, and you've got it flat. Like, I don't think anyone has explained the mechanism for how this makes any sense. That's all I'm saying here. Okay, so this is Rivian versus Lucid, I believe. Yeah, this is Tesla and Lucid. Sorry, Tesla and Lucid. We got Lucid Motors. Blue line is Tesla. Gray line is Rivian as Lucid. You can see Lucid was up, then Lucid falls. Here's a big drop of Lucid Motors that's roughly consistent with Tesla stock price falling. You can see Tesla falling over this period, Lucid falling over this period. Lucid's falling after Elon sold stock. So did Elon cause Lucid stock to fall? There's a transaction here. They both fall. Lucid falls more. Did Elon's stock transaction cause Lucid to fall more? Now, the one that everybody wants me to rely on is to compare to is the S&P 500. I don't think the S&P 500 is a better comparison than electric vehicle companies, right? Companies that sell electric vehicles that are roughly on par with at least some of the vehicles that Tesla sells. I don't know why the S&P 500, which is a radically different entity, but okay. The S&P 500 was falling here. Tesla was falling here. Elon sells, Tesla's flat, the S&P 500 falls. Right? Did Elon cause the S&P 500 to fall by selling Tesla stock when Tesla stock didn't fall? What's the explanation for this fall here? Why is the S&P 500 is going up over this stretch and Tesla stock is falling? What are the explanations for this? Tesla is not well correlated with the S&P 500. It is pretty well correlated with Rivian and Lucid because, gosh, they're all selling electric vehicles. They're all dependent on the interest rates having an impact on the companies. So, but let's dive into, this is the actual, figure out how I do that. I don't know how I rotated this. No, it's not that. I don't know. We're going to leave it the way it is. I don't know how the heck I did that. These things happen. All right. So this is what I wanted. This is the okay. Wait. Sorry. I have a second window capture. I think I meant to have a second window capture. So let's just look here. These are the transactions again, and you can see that well, this is we're looking. Okay, I know what we got here. So we're looking at the beginning of November. So Elon hasn't sold stock yet. It's the beginning of November. The stock is trading at $400 a share. The stock goes up to $409 a share, and then it starts dropping down. And Elon is selling stock over this period. Elon actually sells 47 million shares. This is the largest chunk of stock that he sells from November to December 2022. From November 8th of 2021 through, it's actually later in December, he sells a total of 47 million shares. Okay? Or sorry, no, I think it's just this one block right here is 47 million shares. From November 8th to November 16th, he sells 47 million shares of Tesla stock. And what happens by the end, the day after the stock is trading, the stock rises to $385 a share. It was at 387 or 407 when he started selling. So is that plummeting? That it fell like 5% over a period of, I don't know, 12 days after selling this huge chunk of stock. There's another chunk here that he sold. It's still at 381 a share. Like it dipped. Okay, maybe his sales caused the stock to dip to 351 appears to be the bottom, or it's actually 341, and then it climbs back up while he's selling, and then it falls again, and it's kind of bouncing around, right? I don't understand. Here's my question. If you're going to advance the theory that Elon selling stock caused the stock to fall long term, or over any period, over what period would we see the effect? Would we see the effect the same day? And I do think we are seeing an effect that on the day that he sells, especially when he sells large volumes, the stock seems to fall that day. Okay, I think I see that effect. But it also seems to bounce back the next day, or at least over a period of time. So what's the period of time over which this has an effect? Does it have, because I don't, like, as a long-term investor, I don't care if the stock is down on one day or if it's down for 3 days. That's not meaningful for a long-term investor. If you're going to say that, all of these transactions caused the stock to fall from $407 a share down to, 100 or whatever it was, that's a pretty bold claim. But you should be able to predict, okay, he sold this much stock and it was published on this date, and it had this effect while he was selling because there's more supply than there is demand or whatever, and then it carried through over this period of time. Well, why did stock climb back up to $385 a share, 3 or 4 days after he stopped selling? Right? I don't get that. I just don't get that. And you've got here the stock, falls a little bit on this sale and it climbs back up to 381 again. Like the stock is falling, the stock is rising. There's a transaction here, there's a transaction here. The stock is now he's not selling nearly as much as he sold here, and the stock falls all the way to 322, 319. He sold 47 million shares over here. Then over this stretch, he sells like 8 million shares, 8.4 million shares, and the stock falls from 381 to 319. Well, why did it fall more for this group of sales than it fell for this group of sales? I don't think this makes sense. All right, let me dive in. Okay, so we're going to go down a little further. These are the December transactions. No, stop that. Okay, these are the December transactions. 2.8 million shares, 2.8 million shares, two more sets of 2.8 million shares, and 2.8 million shares. The stock before the transactions start is around 339, and you've got it dips down to 319. There's this window here right in the middle of the sales where the stock bounces up from 299 to 336 while Elon's selling. How's that happen? is going on here? Oh, up. Can we still see it okay? No. Can you hear me now? Is anybody there? What is going on? Hello, hello, hello. Are we there? Okay, I think we're better. Craziness. I'm having lots of fun. Are you guys having fun? That's the one. You get to see all the good stuff. Okay, I think we're good now. Everybody still there? Excuse me 1 second. It's just one of those days. It's just one of those days. Okay. So no, it wasn't a bathroom break. My air conditioning for some reason was set to 89 degrees. Okay. All right, we got the. Okay, so we got our arrow back. Oh, okay. So he sells a bunch of shares here, but look here. He sells 5.6 million shares, and the stock goes from $300 a share to $336 up to $355 a share. How's that happen? Somebody explain that to me. Is this consistent with the story that you've been told? This is my question for you. Is this consistent with the story that you've been told? You've been told this story that Tesla stock went down because Elon sold stock. So here's an example that is inconsistent with the story you've been told. Elon sells 5.6 million shares on December 21 and 22. The stock goes from $300 a share at the close of business on December 20th up to $364 a share. It climbs. There's another sale. The stock is all the way up to $399 a share on January 3rd. Somebody explain this to me. I mean, is there somebody in the chat who believes that can explain to me how Elon sells a bunch of stock? I mean, the stock was trading like 308, 325, 319. Elon sells 10, 11 million shares of stock over this period of time, and the stock goes from 319 to 399. Somebody explain this. Like, if this, okay, so conservative stat sodomist says, what did the S&P 500 do at this day? What happened? Look, the story is that Elon caused the stock to plummet, right? I don't want to hear this, well, with the S&P 500. This is a huge jump in the stock from $320 a share to $400 a share, while Elon is selling 11 million shares of stock. This is not consistent with the story. And we can go back to the chart. We can go back to this chart here. What were we talking about? December? Yeah, it's December. So we're here, and I can pull up the S&P 500 chart, sure. So the S&P 500 was flat in that period, and Tesla stock jumped. This is Tesla stock jumping from whatever. The S&P 500 is relatively flat, and Tesla stock shot up. So explain this to me. Why did this happen? Right? This is inconsistent. This is the problem with this is the unscientific nature of the people have decided in advance Elon caused the stock to fall. Right? This is what they decided. And when you present them with evidence that's inconsistent with their story, then they say, well, compare it to the S&P 500. Well, I just did. The S&P 500 was flat and Tesla went up. Tesla went up dramatically. Was it 80? This is like a 25% increase in the stock over a period where the S&P 500 was flat, while Elon is selling 11 million shares. You can add in these sales too. I mean, I don't care. Like Elon sold a bunch of stock and the stock price went up. You know, if you're going to claim there's a relationship here, it should be somewhat consistent somewhere in there. It doesn't seem consistent to me. That's my take on it. You can disagree with me, but I don't see how you get there any other way. All right, so let's go back. Let's go further down. We're going to look at some more transactions. I just want to show you this one. So here we've got a period. This is January 12th, 2022. Elon is not selling. There's no sales. The stock goes from $368 a share down to $276, $282 a share. It's a big drop. All right, let's go look at the S&P 500. You want to see what was the window? This is January 12th to January 28th, right? What did the S&P 500 do? This is right in here. So Tesla stock falls. So Tesla stock has this big fall, and the S&P 500 falls a little. I don't know. Why did Tesla stock fall so much more than the S&P 500? I'll concede the S&P 500 fell some. Why did Tesla fall so much more? How does this line up? I don't see it. I just don't see it, and I'm eager to have somebody explain to me how this makes sense. Elon said that Tesla's a man. So the theory is that Tesla is a 2 beta stock, that it has, you know, it's that the S&P 500 is, you know, certain level and Tesla is more volatile. And so some people say, well, then Tesla should only fall twice as much as the S&P 500 when the S&P 500 falls, or it should rise twice as fast. It's not evenly correlated like that. It doesn't work like that. Beta is an MBA concept for people who aren't sophisticated enough to understand that the markets are more complex than what MBAs are taught. We all know what Elon thinks of MBAs and Sandy Munro thinks of MBAs. All right, so let's keep going here. There's a lot of fluctuation in the stock price. Here's another window. I think we need to go. Here's another window. This is in March. Got another window. The stock falls from 293 to 255. Pretty big drop in the stock. Elon hasn't sold any stock. Why is the stock falling? Did Elon cause this by selling stock? Like, is this drop in the stock caused by Elon selling in December of the previous year? You know, 4 months earlier? Is that what caused the stock to fall? Let's see what the S&P, what are we talking about? This is the beginning of March. So, I think this is this window in here. There's a drop. Then there's a big rise. Right, we're about to hit a big rise in Tesla stock. Why did Tesla stock go up? Right, and the S&P 500 went up a little. I don't know. I don't think that's easily explained. I didn't even mark it off here, but look at this big rise. We started at 255. We get up to 381. Can't see that. We go from $255 to $381 a share. $255 a share from March 14th to $381 a share. Elon didn't sell. Elon didn't buy. Why is the stock going up? Right? I mean, I don't know. Did somebody buy? Like, what? Everybody's got to explain everything. Okay, we're going to come up to the April 2022 transactions. Okay, I have 2 different groups here to show you. But this is the biggest transaction he had. And let me. So this, he sold 29 million shares from in April of 2022. And this was his big, these are big transactions. You can see that the stock fell significantly on the day he sold 11 million shares. It fell from 332 to 292. I think that there's a pattern here that on the day that he sold big numbers, the stock mostly fell. But on April 27th, The stock was at 294 a share, 293.84. Elon sells almost 16 million shares. This is his biggest transaction, right? And the stock barely budges. And it actually goes back up. May 2nd, it climbs to $317 a share, right? We started at 332, we dipped down, it climbed back up. Did Elon selling 29 million shares in this short window cause the stock to fall from 332 to 317? We're in April, late April of look at the S&P 500 again if it makes people happy. This is the big transaction. It dips down, it comes back up. And then there's a big fall. Is it a delayed response that this big fall happens because Elon sold? Like why does the spike happen? I mean, there's a little spike in the S&P 500 there, sure. I don't know. Is that the cause? Is that what's going on? I don't see it. And then let's just go really quick. Okay. Got another window here. So we were at 317. The stock falls to $209 a share. This is a bottom for the stock. But Elon hadn't sold. Pop back up. Okay. No. Okay. So you can see Elon's last transaction is April 28th. The stock rises up by May 4th to 317, and then the stock falls. Like, what's the causal relationship here? Can somebody explain to me how you get this delayed effect that this set of transactions suddenly caused this big plummet? And by the way, the SEC filing was April 29th, right? So, and the stock went up after the SEC filing, right? And then all of a sudden there's this plummet. I mean, the stock plummet. I'll give you that the stock plummeted. You know, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days after it starts to fall. It doesn't fall that much, and then all of a sudden it plummets, and it really, you know, it's a gradual fall. Is that you know, is it like a 5-day delay? Is that how it works? Like he sells and the stock rises and then it falls? What's the mechanism of this fall? This is not clear. This just is not clear. Let's keep going. I think it's a while now. So the next. Okay, here's another bunch of transactions. The stock's back up to 308 at this point. So in August of 2022, Elon sells another 23 million shares in 3 days. And the stock is $308 a share before he starts selling. The first day he sells, it drops $20 a share. Okay. Then it stays flat while he's selling. It's mostly flat. And then it ends up over. The price on August 15th is higher than the price the day before he started selling. This, you know, this is a big chunk. He sells 23 million shares in a 3-day span, and the stock price ends up higher. Like, okay, and then the stock starts falling. Like, is it a 5-day lag theory? Like, did anybody say we expect the stock to fall, but it's a 5-day lag? Has that been the argument that people have made? I don't know. We're going to get into, okay, here's another big fall. Okay. I think I might have to shrink the window. Okay, this is actually it. This is the entire, you can barely see it on the screen, but the stock was at $309 a share on September 19th. It falls to $204.99. There's no transactions. He last sold in April. He doesn't sell again until November or December of 2022. I think it's November 2022. What caused this? Here's the stock plummeting. It fell from 309 to 204. This is like a 33% drop in the stock in a span of less than a month. And he didn't sell. So did Elon selling back in April cause this fall in the stock price? This doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, what's going on here? All right, now we got a bunch of transactions here in November. I think there's another set of transactions in December. We're going to get to that. So we start at $215 a share. Elon sells to almost 20 million shares. We see again, I think we almost always, when we see him selling stock on the first day of selling, we see a dip. We see a dip. And it is falling while he's selling. We didn't see this every time he sold, But these days, and by the way, the 4.4 million shares and the 5 million shares, these are not large, relatively large. The 4.4 million out of 128 million transactions, this is small. This is a small impact. The stock goes down, and then the stock comes back up to 194. 5 days after. What's the 5-day lag theory? Then we start to see it fall a little bit. I don't know how to explain how. I don't see that this correlates. I'm sorry, I just don't. All right, we got another set of transactions. How do I? Okay, I think I got to do this. Okay. So we got the last set of transactions. He sells another 22 million shares in December, mid-December. Stock price is at 179 the day before. It falls on the first day of him selling. It falls the 3 days he's selling. And it falls down to 123 or 109 here, and then it bounces back. I don't see a consistent pattern. If anything, I see a pattern that there's not much of a pattern. That's my take on this. I don't know what other people are saying. Let me go in the chat here and just see. Does anybody have a theory about this? Don says, okay, we got a time to move on. Yes, Jim, that's correct. I need somebody to debate with that isn't here. The people who are advocating this position that Tesla stock fell because Elon sold, I don't see it. And I'm isn't some of the selling him allowing him to buy additional shares? He's buying Twitter with the money, not with that. Jay Kim says QQQ, which is S&P 500, went from 333 to 274 from August 15th to October 14th. It makes 100 cents. So Jay Kim, let me get this. You're saying QQQ went from, what are we talking about? August. Talking August. So there's this fall in the S&P 500, and Tesla falls roughly over the same period. What's the big deal? But Elon didn't sell. I'm sorry, I don't think this makes sense. Yes, I agree that there's times when they fall at the same time, and there's times when they're not correlated. This because they're not correlated. Someone kicked Warren under the table to tell him to move on. Well, this is the title of the video, right? This is what we're talking about today. All right, I will talk about something else. So let's go back to this. People, I get a lot of comments. People want me to talk about something else. So let's talk about this. I'm having a conversation with one of the supposed Tesla bulls. I won't name names. Who is insisting that Tesla should advertise, and this is how they should advertise, and so on and so forth. And I've been looking for. So we have a clear case here that production is up, which means supply is up. And we know that the economy is not doing well, and we know that the interest rates on car loans hurt demand. So the supply is up, the demand is down, prices fall. This is basic supply and demand. I've been looking for somebody to explain what's the theory. Nokia Lover says, I see a clear correlation. Do you? Okay. And that's the response that I've gotten from people. I'm like, well, show me, how does this work? Like, is it a 3-day lag? Is it a 5-day lag? And they'll just say, well, it clearly had an impact. And, why did Elon say that his stock sales caused the stock price to plummet? Because he had so many people telling him maybe Elon fell for it. Maybe he actually got persuaded by the lies. Okay. So my question for the people who are advocating advertising is, well, what's the plan? How much are you going to spend? What are you going to spend it on? So the one person I was talking to said, well, we need to advertise to non-EV buyers. What channel is that? What channel do you advertise to for the non-EV buyers? Is that like, I don't know, is that ESPN? What network is is it a TV ad? Is it like you're advertising on Facebook to people? Because I don't think Elon's going to buy ads on Facebook, right? And for Twitter, Elon already has pretty good reach on Twitter. I don't know that Elon and Tesla have pretty good reach on Twitter. I don't know that he needs to advertise on Twitter. He's not going to advertise on Facebook and Instagram because he's not going to support Meta, Mark Zuckerberg's company. Oh, By the way, when we're done, in about 20 minutes, I'm going to start a new live stream on the Daily Lie, which is warrenredlich.locals.com. If you're not already a member of the Daily Lie, you click the sign up button. It's free. And I'm going to be talking about the All In Pod. Was talking about the threat of artificial general intelligence, and I just listened to Lex Friedman talking about Max Tegmark talking about artificial general intelligence. I'm going to talk about the regulatory issues, which I talked about back on April 1st, but it keeps coming up. There's so many changes. I'm actually talking to somebody about an AI startup now. Tesla does advertise on Twitter for free. So, so we're gonna advertise EV. See, I think there's an interesting question here. Do you advertise Tesla to places where people already own a lot of Teslas? Because if you advertise in a place where people already own Teslas, then the people who see the ads then go outside and they see Teslas in the real world. Does that make the ads more effective than if you advertise in a place where there aren't a lot of Teslas? Like, are you regionally targeting places that don't own a lot of Teslas, or do you want to regionally target a place that does own a lot of Teslas because the ads might actually be more effective in places where people own more Teslas? I don't know the answer to this question. And what's the return on ad spend? My basic research, very limited research, is that when you do ad spend, you spend $1 million on advertising and you're going to get $3 million in additional revenue. Now, it's not like Tesla can really sell a lot more cars, because at least supposedly they're making as many cars as they can. And by the way, which car are you going to promote, or what product are you going to promote? Are you going to promote the Model S? The Model S and Model X seem to be lagging, right? Are you going to promote Model S and X when they're not the future of the company? Model S and X are sort of like an archaic remnant of the history of Tesla. Model Y is the current vehicle for the company, for the company's future. Even Model 3 is becoming somewhat archaic. And then this next generation vehicle platform is going to matter a lot. Do you spend money on branding for Tesla when Tesla already has the strongest auto brand? I don't understand it. Launch Cybertruck into the sun. Everyone will know and I will think on it from time to time. Sure. So my point is this. So what Clueless says, Tesla has far more demand than supply, no advertising necessary. Well, I mean, at the price point, there's a limit on demand. And the reason Tesla has been lowering prices of their vehicles is to reach demand that can't currently afford Teslas. I think that's pretty straightforward. What is this? Sorry. Francois Couture says, is that French culture? I don't blame Elon for selling, and I haven't sold one share, but we can't ignore. Maybe it's can't. He says we can. We can't ignore the effect Elon's sales had. It added uncertainty in a very uncertain moment. I took profit of the situation by adding. Wait a minute. You're saying we can't ignore the effect it added uncertainty in a very uncertain moment. I just showed you. This is the thing. For people who are saying I'm beating a dead horse, I just showed you that it didn't. I just went through all these instances. It's not there. The connection isn't there. The times when the stock plummeted were times when he wasn't selling. So, NASCAR starting an EV league, yeah. Conservative Stat Sodom says in Q1 the inventory was about 40,000 cars from Q4. If they won't include the product costs for them in Q1 earnings, then we could beat Q4 EPS easily. Yeah, I'm not diving into. I personally, like, I'm not the guy to do like short term. What's the earnings per share going to be this quarter? I feel like I'm not making particularly good projections there. There's other people's projections you can follow. I don't think it's important. What's important for Tesla is to continue to grow production, to continue to grow, to improve FSD, to continue to improve bot, to continue to grow Megapack, to grow the company. The profits are going to follow. The stock price is going to follow. If you grow the company, if you continue to accelerate the transition to sustainable energy and you lead in that space, then that's where it's going to be. Oh, I made Spence C. Space. I made a joke about Tesla hiring Dylan Mulvaney to do ad campaign. Jim Whitehead says he was listening to the radio today. A Bolt owner, that's a Chevy Bolt, was whining about lying, and the network was too dumb to understand that Bolts aren't Teslas. Yeah. Whining about charging. They were whining about charging, and the network was too dumb to understand that Bolts aren't Teslas. What about a targeted ad campaign when there's a limited time to take advantage of a tax break? Targeted to who? Who are you targeting? Where are you delivering this message? I don't understand. People want to believe, like, let's suppose you spent $100 million in an ad campaign and it generated $300 million in additional revenue, but you had to increase the price of the cars, right? You sell 2 million cars, you spend $100 million, that's $50 a car, and you generated like maybe you generate $300 million in additional revenue. Is it worth it? And how are you generating $300 million in additional revenue? If they're producing so many cars and you can't sell more cars than you produce, is it raising the price of the cars? I don't know. I mean, I don't see that does advertising increase demand, and does it persuade a BMW buyer to switch over and buy a Tesla? I don't think that's been explained very well. Jim Pook says, I don't think Tesla needs to advertise in the traditional sense. I would like to see some educational ads that would explain things like battery capacity, range, safety, correct allowed foot. We do that on YouTube channels all the time. You were talking about a 30-second ad. I mean, what's the context where you're doing these ads that is persuasive to people? Are we doing 15-second ads? Are we doing 30-second ads? How are we doing that? Are people going to think that 300 miles of range is a lot? Are they going to understand? Are you going to explain, like, when I try to explain to people how long, people will ask me, how long does it take to charge your Tesla? Like, well, it depends. It's not a simple answer. I can't just say it takes 20 minutes to charge. It's not that simple. What are my thoughts on some of Ross Gerber's comments on Tesla these days? I don't think Ross is making any sense. I mean, I don't have a particular thing. Oh, Kyler says you just proved that it was all of Elon's hateful tweets that tanked the stock. Case closed. I'm sure I didn't. You know what? I should have put Elon's tweets. I don't know which ones. How do we know which ones are hateful? I thought all his tweets were hateful, and he's tweeting multiple times a day. So why isn't the stock falling every day? Jay Kim says sell ads for $100 million versus cut prices, which costs $1 billion. But you don't know that the ads are going to increase prices. Like, you could do that, and then the cars don't sell. People have this imaginary theory that you're going to spend $100 million, you're going to be able to raise prices so you make an extra $1 billion. That's a 10-to-1 return on ad spend, when return on ad spend is typically 3. And that's when you're selling more product. They're not really selling more product because they're selling every car that they make. Spency Spence says, only person I can see is like a Taylor Swift or AOC be a Tesla ambassador. It'd be really funny if Tesla paid AOC to promote Tesla. That would be fun. That would be hilarious. I don't think they can afford Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift is way too wealthy for that. She's a billionaire, I think. Melody of 1974 says, I think if Tesla wants to lead, they need to adversities. I don't know what that means. Just type that. PE says stock will head towards 150 this coming week. Where are you getting that from? Jay Kim says Coca-Cola is the best known brand in the world, but they do more advertising than any other company. Why? Because their product is not differentiated well on its qualities from Pepsi. Coca-Cola advertises a lot of things. The main product, let's say the Coca-Cola product, is it that different from Pepsi? I mean, I have friends who swear that Coca-Cola is better than Pepsi, but I don't think they believe that because of a TV ad. But Teslas are materially much different from Fords and BMWs. That's why there's a difference there. That, you know, and iPhones are not materially better than Android phones either. Yeah, and Jim Whitehead says AOC would drive every conservative to never buy a Tesla. Too polarizing and nutty. Yeah, exactly. People who really want to shop and research their net vehicle can get all the info they need on the internet. If they don't deserve a Tesla. If you don't know what a Tesla is, you're living under a rock, and you don't need one. I just don't know that advertising is that effective anymore. I don't know where you're advertising. I don't know that you'll do it well. You do it, and then it's hard to stop once you start. Jim Pook says Tesla should do the production work and release the video ads on social media. They put videos about Tesla safety on their YouTube channel and on Twitter. Coke needs to get Tesla semis. Yeah, well, the Pepsi has them, right? Coca-Cola Classic simply has less sugar than standard Pepsi, so I like it better. Okay, some people like more sugar. I don't know. Is that a meaningful difference? Is it self-drinking Pepsi? Is it full self-drinking? Advertising is one of the few levers for legacy automotive to pull to add revenue. Advertising is one of the many levers for Tesla to pull to add revenue. No hurry. EE says, I get the price drop, Warren, from the margin dropping. With the price drop, something has to give. I like Tesla, but I have to look. Supply is up, demand is that they want to sell more cars. They have to lower prices. Is Elon still going on Fox News? I believe that's tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern, right after his Twitter space, and it was already recorded. Repercussions, I don't care. He was just interviewed by the BBC's leftist guy. Were there repercussions for that? Did the left watch that interview, see how dumb their journalist looked, and decide, gee, maybe Elon's got something favorable about him? No. It's all tribal. Do ads comparing ice fires to battery fires? I don't think you want to do advertising showing your car's on fire. Even if you show somebody else's car on fire, I don't think that's a good approach either. Oh, if Tesla wants to be a leader, they will need to advertise it. Dig it, GM. Oh, they want to lead like Mary. Okay, it was a joke. I got it. Maybe do Tesla ad car wraps on cars in strategic centers? Once you pop one, you can't stop. Marty Party, very good. Once you start advertising, it's hard to stop. Why did Elon create a new company? Kevin King asks, why did Elon create a new company to develop AI and not do it under the Tesla umbrella? I thought FSD is considered AI, and so wouldn't it make sense to use the platform in Dojo? Tesla is working on AI under Tesla umbrella. I think Tesla's also working on AI under the Twitter umbrella. I think the X.AI thing is Twitter. They're doing multiple. Matt Burns, yes, there is a launch tomorrow. Starship flight. It looks like 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, 5 a.m. Pacific. And there's a Twitter space. Elon's doing a Twitter space for his subscribers today in about 2 hours. Do I think that X.AI will take away from AI initiatives at Tesla? No, I think they'll collaborate. Elon's companies collaborate. SpaceX and Tesla collaborated on the steel for Starship and Cybertruck. They'll work together. Can Twitter or X run ads for Tesla? Is that frowned upon or illegal? I don't know what you mean by run ads. Tesla publishes videos and stuff on Twitter already. Bring Gary Black on for an interview. I don't think Gary Black and I would gel well. I'd be happy to interview Gary, but I don't think that works. What do I think Tesla's internal production target is for Cybertruck in 2023? And Gary doesn't trust me to have I've interviewed all kinds of people. Gary doesn't trust me to have a conversation without having a moderator to protect him from me asking him tough questions. Is Dojo really AI? Yes. Dojo is the AI training component. Thoughts on the Tesla? Oh, dear Lord. Brooke Chen says, thoughts on the Tesla Model 3 Project Highland leak. Looks really kind of stylish. Reminds me of a Porsche car. Well, that's a reason why to believe it's not real. I don't think there's a Project Highland. I don't think there ever has been a Project Highland. Tesla has constantly been refreshing Model 3 in a variety of ways. The Model 3 of 2023 is very different from the Model 3 of 2018. William says, have you considered doing any crossover interview collabs with precious metals channels for forecasting purposes? What about Lynn Alden? I don't know anything about that. I don't mean by precious metals. Do you mean gold and silver? That's not something that interests me. Francois Couture, going back to the chart, is on the long run between November 21 and December 22, no matter what the chart said on the very short term. In relation to days Elon was selling, long-term effect wasn't good. Had two choices, whining or buying. I don't see. You're just saying, well, it had to be the cause. But, you can't just throw that out there. What's the mechanism? Do I see ICE cars depreciating more than EV cars? I think that they're depreciating more than EV cars, but I don't know enough to answer that question. So Jim Whitehead says, yes, X is the parent of Twitter now, but there's some other filing for X.AI, and maybe that's a different company. I don't know. Yeah, Elon became a trillionaire with advertising. He doesn't need it. I don't even know if PayPal advertised when he was there. At some point, will public be restricted from getting so close to Starship? It looks like someone could get close enough to do some nefarious things. It's a public road. I've been out there. It's a public road. You're not that close to Starship. And there is security. There is security. There is security that there to stop people. So I don't know what somebody could do to Starship. It's probably bulletproof anyway. Uh, Tesla Mama has been getting hard on Grossberber, Ross Gerber. Can I comment on declining costs this year? 4680 ramp, Highland, declining lithium prices, etc. I don't like to do short-term stuff over the cost of the year. I think that 4680 is ramping and battery costs will go down. I think it's one of the interesting things that I can't answer yet is at what point this year do the ramps of Berlin and Texas lead to lower cost for those factories and lead to significantly lower cost? Because they should be lower cost to manufacture than certainly out of Fremont and maybe at least competitive or cheaper than Shanghai. How much does the ramp of 4680 reduce production costs? Yes, lithium prices are declining. What impact does that have? I think that helps, but I think the declining price of the cars outweighs the reduced costs. I'm just not sure. All right, I'm gonna wrap up in a couple minutes. I'm a Highland denier. That's true, Marty Party. I deny Highland. What's with what attitude? I don't know what attitude you're referring to, B. What did I do? What did B say? What did I do? B, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry because I don't know what you're talking about. You need to use Bitcoin for worldwide advertising. Worldwide advertising, why? When do you expect 4680 to reach energy densities described at Battery Day? 2026. Drew Baglina was asked about that, and he said that the numbers on Battery Day were for targets in 2026. Okay, so with all that said, I'm going to be going over to the Daily Lie in about 4 minutes. I'm going to be talking about what am I talking about? Oh, this is bad. Oh, yeah. Just a reminder, please check out the merch at elonbits.com. There's a 25% discount. The promo code is at the top of the chat, and it's in the video description below. And what am I talking about on the Daily Lie? We're going to be talking about, we're talking about artificial intelligence. Whether Elon has been calling for regulation of artificial intelligence, Max Tegmark's been calling for regulation of artificial intelligence. I'm going to talk about that in about 3 minutes on the Daily Lie. It's free to watch. Just click sign up when you get over there. If you're already a member, great. Please consider supporting me on those platforms. Check out the merch at elonbits.com. Stainless steel water bottle, etc. Please check out my other videos. Like this video, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thanks everybody so much for watching, and